Hello, everybody. This is Angel Arts, and welcome to session number 18 of the Dragon Age Ascension Season 3 campaign. And once again, I am joined by our players. And before we go to the game at hand, let's start with the warm-up question. So, a little bit of a fun fact. Today, as we're recording, is my birthday. And how old again, Skull? Did you say I looked like I was
40-ish,
40-ish?
ish, yes.
And I told him no, I'm 40
40
zero.
zero.
Don't tell someone who's 40 zero that they're 40-ish. Wait until they're like 50 something or
Guys, pro
beyond.
tip in general, if you have a DM who's like current has a on their birthday, don't talk about their age on their birthday when they can just have rocks fall on your head. I wouldn't advise it.
Yeah, I was like, did I say that you got this much RPXP? I think you actually got this much RPXP. No.
I think for Rousseau, he would go ahead and get custom fit Rousseau a very nice suit. For I don't exactly know the colors, probably something maybe like red, gray, and blue or so, something like that. Maybe primarily like a dark red with some like a blue vest and then some like gray trim. I don't know if you would like it or not, but that's what I can think of for Rousseau. For Leon, he would go ahead and he would go down into the deep roads and find some rare ass plant that like is really hard to find. Usually like in darkspawn infested territory, and get that because he doesn't have to worry about that. Tyrion and Pasha are a little harder. I think for Tyrion he would give
A pinup of Tumble.
I was gonna say Darren. The pressure sent to a present box for delivery.
Like a so it'd be like a cake that you would jump out of or something. That would be kind of cool. Okay, well, I think Skull picked the present out for you.
You can give one. It was a joke answer, so that's up to there.
Oh, Pasha, right? Sorry, he would get a brand new saddle for Valor, like custom made and have lots of extra stuff like some nice reins that would be good on Valor, and then allow Pasha a lot more mobility. Like maybe she could even do like a stand and ride kind of thing. So some good saddle for Pasha, and then yeah. On serious note for Tyrion, I honestly can't think of that. I don't really know. Maybe some like new high quality medicinal kits, like new antitoxins or various books that would like be of a higher end quality than your average. So
for Pasha, we'll start with Pasha. He would give her like a little tray full of baked goods, and then underneath the baked goods is like a small little stack of recipes. So she can take them back and then have any sort of sweet she wants in the future.
From your cookbook, right?
Yeah,
those
definitely.
kind of recipes.
You know, just slide in some blood pudding or something.
I hear that herring blood pie is quite good.
And then for Rousseau, he'd probably get like a very nice writing set, for like quills and ink, because writing contracts and, other things. For Tyrion, he'd probably find like a book of mathematics so that, he can get a better shot. He can calculate the angle of the wind and, the drop of the earth, just easier for calculating rifle. Books are good. And then for Daratham, probably like a quick history book, because he's lived through it. He's been on the dark spawn side of it. So maybe there's some holes there that he wants to like patch up and enjoy.
So just sort of to choose what presents you give. So to Daratham, he would give the Rise and Fall, a book of the Tevinter Empire. to give him literally like the entire history of what happened to the Tevinter, its people, the culture, how it's changed from those old days. Maybe he'd be interested in that. To Pasha, this would be a little bit difficult, but for no reason I would think he would give her a bouquet of dandelions to her. Sort of relive, not sort of relive the memories of what happened to Dandelion, but sort of the olden days when it was better. To Leon, he would give him probably he would give him a book about what was the region again? Was like the forest near Tevinter where the elves used to live. I forgot what it's called, but like a natural guidebook of what was it? I forget.
You're talking about the Tirashan?
I don't know if it's the Tirashan
woods.
No, it's near Tevinter. It's near Tevinter.
Okay.
But there's like the
Arlothan Forest.
Arlington Forest. There you go. That one.
Oh, okay.
You give like a natural guides explorer to the Teraton Forest to him. Maybe he wants to explore the area. Probably has a lot of like elven-esque natural resources for him to pick and see through. For Russo, he would probably give him a. Ooh, this would be very difficult, but he'd probably give him probably a law book, like a local law book for Tevinter. So if you ever want to practice in a different region, see how like that custom is like. So, yeah.
So I think all of Pasha's gifts would be something homemade. I can't see her going out and buying stuff. I can see her like making things. So I think for Leon, she'd maybe crochet him another toy to add to his collection. Maybe give Mr. Bun a Mrs. Bun. Just something like that. For Tyrion, I think she'd knit him some gloves just because, as a doctor and as a marksman, his hands are very important to his work. So get him something to protect those.
Especially when he unlocks traps.
Yeah.
Or he trips traps.
If they could be made fire retardant or something like that, just there you go.
That's a good idea.
Deatham and Russo are actually very tricky because I was going to say, because Leon had the same idea that Pasha had with Deatham, which is just like his clothes are so holy and worn. It's like, get him some new clothes. She'd probably make Deatham a cloak. Just like, this one is nice and it's new and it doesn't smell of the deep roads. There you go. Wear it, please. And I think with Russo, I think she'd maybe try and cook him something that she made him when he was younger.
Oh.
Remember when you were a child.
Aww. That's adorable.
Something like that. Some Griffin nuggets. There you go. I don't know what
nuggets.
Griffin
nuggets.
Like a nice story or something. Something that she'd have been like, this is from my homeland. Have it, young lad. There you go.
So I guess that leaves me.
Yes. And you're a lawyer, so you're like Moneybags Rousseau, right?
Used to be. The suit kind of about broke me last like 2 sessions ago. Well, I'll go from easiest to hardest. Tyrion, I feel like Russo would actually offer to help him go through the process of like getting certified, actually like become a full true doctor through and through, which I feel like Russo would be able to help do that, at least in Navarra. Then you could take everyone to the necropolis, Tyrion. Leon, I feel like Russo would offer to distract Theoben, so him and Leon Russo would offer to distract Theoben so Rosie and Leon could just have their own time that night. Then Pasha, I feel like Russo, because he has mentioned that he does like to sketch, would have given her a sketch of like a memory they had in Kirkwall together, him and Corin, with like one of her favorite verses of the Cune written on the back. And then Dartham, I feel like he'd give him like a picture of an old god to just let him destroy it, give him that catharsism.
Just a punching bag with the old god faces on it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to answer this question as well, but I'm going to choose the NPC. And the NPC that I choose to give each of you guys your birthday presents is Pyrus. So, if you were to ask me 3 or 4 sessions ago, that would be really easy. Could Pyrus would be like, Rousseau, I would give a stab to the back. Pasha, a stab to the back. Tyrion, a stab to the back. But now his answer might be a little bit different, except for Pasha. Pasha still gets a stab at the back. But for Tyrion, it would be obvious. He would basically booby trap Tyrion's wagon while he was asleep, so that there would be like traps all over the place, all over his wagon. That would be his birthday present. For let's see, for Daretham, as I said, he kind of is fond of Daretham, so he's just gonna mess with him. So really, all he's gonna do with Daretham is he's probably gonna just draw on his face as he sleeps. Maybe like put some mustaches and some like Groucho Marx glasses or something.
It's
something
blue.
simple like that. Yeah, something like that. For Rousseau, this one's a tough one. Because he's got a very complicated relationship with Rousseau, since Rousseau is sort of his handler right now. So he doesn't want to like tick him off too much. But at the same time, you know, he does kind of want to mess with him. So maybe what he'll do is he'll sort of play a prank on him where he makes a copy, I guess. You know, he makes a duplicate copy of his hammer or something, and then somehow bewitches it so that every single time he uses the hammer to attack something, it like gives off like some sort of like sound, like the nug squeak, like the sensor nug squeak, or I don't know, sparkly like butterflies like pop out of it or something along those lines. I don't know. And then for Leon, I think what he would give to Leon would be a bookcase, but it would be like a luxurious bookcase. Think if a book were to have a mansion, this is what it would be. Would be a mansion bookcase only for Pyrus and no other books.
It's one of those gifts that it's actually for yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. I think I got everybody.
Oh, what about Pasha?
Okay. A stab in the back. Okay.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but I will always stab you in the back.
All right. So let's take it from where we left off. So the 4 of you had just finished speaking with the dragon. And
3, I was running back with
We had
to get to
with us though.
3 of you. And then stuff was happening with Tyrion with his dad. So actually, why don't we start with that? Let's just kick things off with that.
Well, it's so I think we're at the camp. There is currently his dad tied up unconscious. There is Narika, who we now know is Boswick. Let's try to look the name up. And then I think Darrington just came in.
Right,
And-
Daretham just joined you.
Yeah.
And I think both Bomb and, or just Bomb, Bomb and
I think
Valor.
Tyrion.
What?
You all right?
No. Should I?
I can't answer that for you.
Of course, no one can answer that for me.
Right, Narika. Well, which is the true form then?
If I'm around the circus, I'm Narika. Nobody else in the circus knows who I truly am. Again, it's nothing against them. I'm merely protecting myself against Archon Radonis. Ex-Archon Radonis.
Ah, I see. Tevinter, then. So, my apologies. What's your name?
Bostwick Farron is my true name.
I wouldn't recognize that, probably, right?
You wouldn't, unfortunately, recognize that.
A pleasure to meet you.
I am a associate of Andrea, Stormbringer.
Ah, I see. Well, it's good to have you among us, I suppose.
I'm more concerned about Tyrion, however.
I agree.
He's got his head down. He's like his back is under the a tree. He's just looking at the burning flames of the campfire.
Why do you have Lord Forfax's head slave here tied up?
Honestly, it's a good question. I brought him here because he almost caught me red-handed. But in truth, he's my father.
I kind of look over and then.
At least what Amron told me.
I can see the resemblance.
Tyrion, as much as you probably don't want to hear this, he may be your father, but if he has been turned into a tranquil, his loyalties still heavily lie with Amerin Forfax, unfortunately.
Yeah. He's going to kind of pull out from his chest. He pulls out the dagger he was given, and he just tosses it to the ground.
I'll lean over and pick it up. So I kind of look. This is a murder weapon, isn't it?
Yeah. It's one of them, or the only one. It's done.
The city certainly knows. There's unflattering posters on various taverns.
Of course, they would put it on me. Who else?
I mean,
Of course, they're right. So
they're right.
yeah. The only slave to just re-enter and then exit.
And you said a senior called out.
Yeah, he yelled.
They definitely know then.
Well, I'm done anyway. I'm done.
Or your could be your troubles have only just begun. If other magisters send hunters not to bring you back, but kill you.
He's silent, and he's still looking at the flickering flames. It had to be my own emotions who got me into that. Here I thought I was gonna try at least do one good thing. Instead, it all went to the flames. Just like that.
Daretham heads over and sits down next to Tyrion, maybe like a few feet away. And he lays the dagger down in like the foot gap between where Tyrion and Daretham are sitting and just sets it there, the point facing towards the fire. And he just kind of stares into the flames too and says, "Yep, you fucked up."
If only I had controlled myself more. If only I did the things that I said to everyone. If only he wasn't consideration as he looks over at his dad.
Daretham's silent for a little bit before he says, "If only I was strong enough to resist the Archdemon's control and not murder my family. If only I was brave enough to try to escape my master all those years ago. If only I didn't let my emotions control me and go on a murdering rampage, killing Darkspawn, sentient or not."
We all make choices, don't we?
And sometimes we can't control the ones we do. We're
not going to condemn you, Tyrion. Neither am I going to praise you.
He shrugs. Doesn't matter anymore now. What am I? I just murdered a man in his own bathtub. Because of
That's so it happened.
Because of me. Because of what he said to my dad.
I mean, Tyrion, to be entirely fair, I supplied the murder weapon, so I'm quite implicated here.
Yeah.
Then again, you
Doesn't
probably
matter.
could have just strangled him if you wanted to.
I could have done many other things to that man, but instead I went with the easy way. One flick and that's it. It was done. You know, I felt relieved. Just a little bit there. Seeing him dead. That he won't be a problem to me anymore. That he won't ruin my life. Instead, it just ruined it more. And not just for me, but for everyone else.
You don't know that.
Maybe.
No, you literally don't know that. That's an assumption. It could be a right one, it could be a wrong one.
That was the one thing I didn't want to do. Instead, I did it. Can I even trust myself anymore?
Can I even trust myself?
He would kind of look down at the dagger and say,
About maybe a little over a year ago, after I had first been awoken, I was in the Deep Roads, the Tig of Bonehammer. Heavy darkspawn area. I spent a good month there, slowly picking off all of the mindless spawn. It was tiring work, but it gave me each kill a little sense of satisfaction. Didn't solve anything. Didn't make me feel better. There was just a little hit, if you will. And then, when I was near done, a group of Awakened showed up. 5 of them. 1 mage, the other scouts. They were an advance party. And they were horrified. I had slain a good over a month's time, 100 darkspawn, being very meticulous, and they called me a butcher. Which was true. And when I spat in their faces, provoking them, they attacked me. And I murdered all 5 of them. I had planned to murder Balm.
and Baum probably kind of can look over at that point.
Baum will say, he did.
Sorry, by the way.
He just shrugs.
I think it's very unlikely that the Awakened will forgive me, if ever, because of the mistakes I made. And that's what I have to live with. But now I have you. I have Balm. I have Darren. I have the rest of our little troop.
And he kind of holds up and scratches where the cure would be, motioning kind of to where that necklace would be, and he says,
I have a purpose. And even beyond it, I have hope. Tyrion.
Chuckles. You have a purpose yourself, Darren. Now I don't even know what mine is.
How has it changed?
Darren, I just murdered a man in his cold blood.
And I murdered 5.
Sure.
And I murdered 5.
Yeah. But now look at the scale. He looked at his own hands. You're right when you said what I did was everything because of me. To be selfless, I chose to do that. Can't even do the things that I wanted to do now with all that.
Not many of us can.
everyone will look at me now differently, Darrington. Sure, not to the people who never met me.
They will. And all I can say is the same thing that I had to keep saying to myself. Don't look up. Don't look forward. Look down at your feet. And just take one step forward. And keep doing that until you don't need to look at your feet anymore.
Right now, the only thing I can think in my head right now is one solution. I don't think it's best to bring it up right now. He looks at the flames. Are the rest still back in Tevinter?
Yes, Darren's going to be an extra day, so things can cool down. The others are meeting with Calpurnia.
At least I did the one good thing. Kind of looks at the flames still. He looks at his dad. If only maybe he wasn't there. No, wouldn't matter. If only Armin didn't say it was like a trophy. Magisters.
Speaking of Magisters, back to the Tevinter. So you guys just, I guess, are leaving the chamber where they were keeping the dragon. And Leon, you will spot up in a tree, it looks like it's another crow with something attached to its feet.
Oh boy. I sort of hold up a coin.
The crow will instinctively fly towards your direction, hop onto your shoulder, and the letter casing is still dangling on its ankle.
Cool. I'll open the letter casing.
The letter casing seems to be a list of names.
Oh boy, this would be very useful in someone's hands now, wouldn't it? I pay three silver into the crow bag, and then give the crow like a little food.
The crow will lap up the food and then fly away out of sight.
Cool. So, friends, I've got a list of names of who was invited to the party. This may be useful in Calpurnia's hands.
Then we should give her the list, I think.
Okay.
I'll take it. You two head back.
I know it's not quite right for me to suggest this, but I've read a few political documents, and since things have come down to this, it may be useful for her to cull some of the theocracy to help consolidate her power. I mean, maybe not like kill people, because that's a little extreme, but maybe, jail them, because if she does a quick raid on their homes, I bet she can find some evidence.
Your thought isn't wrong, Leon. The problem is that with just names, it's kind of hard to do that and not look guilty.
Yes. Yeah. But, I mean, what's done is done, and, I mean, I'm sure that they will know best, but sometimes acting quickly and preemptively is better than reactively.
Oh, well, Tevinter will go on. It just, Tyrion's actions might have delayed things for others suffering.
Yeah. Do you need backup?
I should be fine just to drop off a letter. I also need to tell her that we've killed that dragon.
Yeah, we've sort of messed things up for her, haven't we?
I doubt they really wanted to keep it in captivity much longer with how it was acting.
Yeah.
It was a mercy killing, if anything.
Just, make sure Tyrion's not about ready to fall apart when we get back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rousseau, you're going to start making your way back to the Capitol building. And Nathan actually is going to say, "Hey, Rousseau, wait up." I would like to come with.
Yeah. I'll wait and let him catch up.
And then Pasha and Leon are going to make their way towards outside of the city, basically. Okay.
Rosie too, right?
Oh, and Rosie as well will be going too. So Nathan is just going to be following around. And I think on your way there, he's just going to be looking around the city, and he says, of all the places that I've gone to visit with my dad, this definitely was my least favorite place, he says, just looking around.
Why? Was it the magic or the slaves? What did it for you?
Yes, and yes, pretty much.
You, doing okay, Nathan? No one's really checked in on you, and it's been a lot over the last few weeks.
Well, that's a good question. How am I doing? I think I'm still... The biggest thing on top of my head is I'm watching Leon. I like Leon, but I just can't help but look at him and see a ticking time bomb. Especially with his outburst over at Kirkwall.
I'm inclined to agree. That felt like he was pretty close to, you know. It's just, I think if we nip it in the bud now and we watch Leon, give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe he'll come around. It just, my energy's starting to feel drained being the neutral point for everyone.
You know, my dad had to deal with something like this between him and Delwyn. And I've heard his side of the story, but I also heard my mom's side of the story, and let's just say that they both have opposing views on Delwyn in general. I think maybe that's kind of why Delwyn's kind of avoided Maximilian all these years, ever since our adventure ended.
Yeah. I mean, blood magic's dirty business. I really don't know how you can get through it cleanly. You probably can't. It's just... With Leon, I feel like he's in a more freeing position than what I've heard about with Delwyn. Like, he's got a bit more axiom of what's influenced.
I can see that. How about you, Russo? How are you doing?
I'll be honest. Pretty blah, to be quite frank. I mean, I want to be mad at Tyrion, but we did leave him alone with Marin. I want to say something to him, but given what I've come from, I'm more understanding than that. I just wish Violetta and Balin were here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was hoping all of this craziness, one silver lining would be that it's a little distracting for you from Balin. You know, I was super close to my dad. Yeah, of course I love my mom, but I definitely think I take after my dad a lot, and I was always attached to him growing up. I guess it's safe to say I was a bit of a daddy's boy. So I can't really speak on how you must be feeling right now, but I know, knowing Balin, probably how... I know that given Balin's situation, I can imagine what he would be feeling at this moment. And I'm sure he misses you too.
I mean, you can't really blame me for sending him away, though. This would be stupid to bring him here.
I understand completely. My dad told me up front when I was just a little kid that this isn't how the conversation started, but there was an understanding that if one day I showed signs of magic, he would immediately ship me to the circle. I'm sure there would be some sort of ceremony to it, but it was... I was taught about duty and responsibility, and I accepted that that was going to be the case if that were to happen. Doesn't mean I was happy about it, but I accepted it.
I think me and him might have differed on that just a little bit.
How so?
I get and understand duty and honor, but there always needs to be a thin layer for nuance, is how I've seen it.
Laws are there for a reason. You, as a law speaker, know that, I would think, Russo.
Yes, but interpretation of the law varies. Just because things are written a certain way doesn't mean it's not understood multiple ways.
Now you're starting to sound like my mom.
I'll take that as a compliment. The law has its purpose, and we should do our best to stay within it, but it's important to realize when it needs to be questioned, is how I've seen it.
You've given me a lot to think about, Russo. Speaking of questioning the law, he says, as you guys now get up to the Capitol, and there seems to be a lot of to-do going about right in front of the building. You see, there appears to be a mob, a small mob, kind of forming, and they are carrying like a bunch of signs. And the mob, they don't look very happy. And a bunch of them are carrying like the wanted Tyrann signs. And there's some shouts and chants and screams, and one of the people who is shouting something, we'll say that she's female, and she says, This is what your policy has done. You try to bring up all these radical ideas like abolishing slavery. Well, that law hasn't even passed, and already they're starting to get these ideas in their heads that they should have the freedom to do whatever they want. Well, now they're starting to rebel. What is your answer to that, Calpurnia? And then she like spits towards the Capitol, as many people who are like passing by are actually starting to join the mob and starting to join the chants, and it's getting very messy very quickly.
Russo's gonna kind of still himself and put Nathan in front of him, so if they start throwing anything, it'll hit like Russo's back instead of him. And as they make their way up to the steps, you go talk to the doorman. I'll be right behind you.
You sure you got this on your own?
Yeah. Just get us inside. I'm gonna take one last assessment to see if we're gonna be safe.
He'll nod and he'll say, just in case, I've got one hand on the holster.
Same.
I'll stay within eye shot, among other things, he says. And he'll go, and as he's going, you'll hear people like chanting, give them an inch, they'll ask for a foot. Give them a foot, they'll ask for a yard, and blah, blah, blah. And all these people who are complaining about, this uprising that apparently the slaves are going to start having now that this Tyrann guy just went and killed off this magister.
Russo's gonna take a deep breath and then turn and look at the crowd. Is there like railing?
I'm sure there is.
He's gonna kind of lean on the railing and then just mutter under his breath, when you get people's anger, but understand that they're going too far. And then he's gonna still himself. He'll stand up and look poignant, and then he's gonna raise his voice. I am not Tevin. But I can see a situation arising when it does. I'm not going to say that you aren't justified or that you don't have any reason to be mad. The only thing I'm going to say is maybe a little self-reflection would be nice. Maybe
Who asked you? One of them yells, "You half-breed dog. You knife-eared Kunari scum." Several of them starts chanting.
call me what you want, but I'm standing here in front of you. That's not going to change. Maybe if you didn't treat the elves underneath you so bad, maybe they wouldn't feel the need to stab. Maybe if you talked about something, there'd be a neutral ground. With the fact that it's gotten to this division where she's ready to just open the floodgates and you're ready to storm this building, you're both kind of pathetic in my opinion. And I'm gonna kill my last point to do a persuasion to calm the crowd down.
It's gonna have to be very high. Very, very high.
I know.
18?
With one stunt point, I don't think that's gonna do
That's
it.
not, yeah,
And
it's high, but it's not.
You're spending the chakra point to, is that to allow you to make the roll?
I was spending that to give more of an echo of like,
Yeah.
see a voice of reason.
Yeah, it is a very high roll, but unfortunately you have a lot of things going against you. The fact that you are a half-breed also
I didn't think
makes
I
them
was gonna
biased.
say anything.
The fact that you also are part elf also lowers your credibility with this crowd considerably. The fact that in many of their eyes you're also Kunari, which again lowers your credibility. So there's a lot of
The two things they hate the
things
most,
stacked
elves and
against you.
Kunari, like you're
Yeah,
both of them.
elves and Kunari.
Yeah, I knew
So-
I wasn't gonna get anywhere, but he'd say it.
So yeah, no, I'm glad you did it. But it's going to be at this point that, you know, the crowd clearly are like chanting and drowning out anything you're saying. They're not listening to you. And roll a dexterity. If there's anything that skill-wise that you think is sufficient for dodging something.
Acrobatics, maybe?
Acrobatics. Roll an acrobatics.
mean, it's gonna have to be flat dex. I don't have initiative and calligraphy as much
Yeah,
dex focuses.
Initiative
Go
to
ahead
like
and roll.
notice it before it happens, maybe?
That's what I'm thinking. Dex is gonna. That's gonna be.
I
tied
got a
with Dex.
16 with 3 stunt points.
Okay, I'm gonna say that several rocks start getting thrown at you, and you manage to dodge most of them, but one particularly big rock like flies through the air and just hits you across the head. You're going to take, I'm gonna say, 8 points of damage from that. Penetrating, I will say. It hit you directly on the head, and there's like a big gash there, and you know, you can feel like the warm blood starting to come out of there, and people are still going to continue calling you like names, terrible derogatory names, and there's derogatory names for Kunari, there's derogatory names for elves, so you can probably imagine.
They get colorful with their combinations.
They get very colorful. On the corner of your eye, you can see Nathan look ticked off, and he's starting to like make his way towards your direction.
I'm just gonna hold up a hand to Nathan like I'm fine.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna look at the crowd, and then I'm gonna wipe the blood, and then flick it on the ground. Well, if you doomed yourselves, don't say I didn't try. And then I'm gonna shuffle my way to the door.
So you should go over to the door, and he said, "Come on, Russo. I spoke to the guy, and he's gonna let us in, but we're gonna have to go in quick so this frat crowd doesn't seep in."
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna kind of pull my handkerchief and start dabbing my forehead.
You make your way through the door, and people, of course, the crowds are like trying to push, and they're all like shouting, like, "Why does he get to go in? Why does the knife ear get to go in? Blah 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 blah." And it's again getting very ugly very quickly. But fortunately, they were able to like let you guys in without letting any of the mob through yet. But you can probably imagine if this is left unchecked, they're probably going to start like picking up something and start pounding the door with a log or whatever.
Have fun
But-
storming the castle.
Nathan, again, still looks completely ticked off, and his expression, however, temporarily softens when he looks at your direction, and he's like, I've heard a lot of things growing up, but I've never heard the things that they were saying to you.
It's okay, Nathan. It's been a regular thing since I was a child.
Have people been calling you that all your life?
I mean, yeah, these things kind of happen. People have their biases and their preconceptions, and I wouldn't be lying if I didn't act like them on the opposite side for a little while growing up, but
Don't they have rules or laws against that where you grew up?
they do, but laws can only do so much. Nathan, I grew up in the Kirkwall lineage, and for a long time before your dad and Sir Barris were there. Let's just say they really didn't have a problem ignoring it because it wasn't really a big enough problem for them.
This seems to trouble Nathan a lot. He doesn't say anything, but you can see a lot more gears are churning in his head.
I'm going to put my hand on Nathan's shoulder and turn him around to me. The important thing to realize is we do not answer a wrong with another wrong. And if we want the world to be a better place, we roll up our sleeves and put the work in.
He looks at you, and for the first time, it looks like he's looking at you at a different light or a different angle that he never saw you as. And he says, wow, Rousseau, I always thought you were a cool guy, and now I've gained a huge more respect for you.
Alright, how do I look? Did the blood get on my suit?
He says, fortunately, no, but I think you're probably going to need Tevinter or Leon to take a look at it afterwards.
Yeah. Let's go see the Archon.
Meanwhile, Leon and Pasha and Rosie. Roll a perception hearing, please.
Okay.
Pasha. So, as you guys are making your way towards the outer gates of the city, I'm going to say that maybe you'll pass by a cart. You'll pass by like a cart of somebody who's like, you can smell the smell of baking bread. Nothing sweet, but like it's mostly breads and stuff. And so that at least, as somebody who does enjoy carbs, you at least like notice, oh, okay, there's a bread stand there, and oh, it smells good. And I'm going to say that hanging nearby the baker's cart, completely unaffiliated from them, are these two elves, and clearly these elves are also servants, slaves, whatever you call them. Maybe they're buying groceries or something for their masters. And I'm going to say that you overhear them speaking, and they're trying very hard, obviously, to make sure nobody is hearing them. But you hear them. And the conversation is along the lines of, did you hear what happened over at Amir and Forfax? I heard that one of his slaves offed him off. He says, really? Huh. It's about time somebody stood up to their masters. I know, right? I think this is the beginning of something. Yeah. Maybe we should let this be an example to some of the rest of us. We totally, I think that, those magisters really need to, take us seriously now. Yeah, I think we should.
Can I ask, are they both elves? Or...
Yes, absolutely. They're both elves. Absolutely.
Damn it. Pasha looks like on one
they're
hand,
slaves, so yes.
on one hand, she wants to go and talk to these people. At the same time, it's like, I'm the human coming and say, well, you should feel this way about a situation I know nothing about. And so she's kind of like, I don't want to be doing that.
I'm going to say that Rosie will notice you perking up a little bit, and she's going to say, and Leon can hear this, she can say, Pasha, is something wrong?
not necessarily wrong per se. I'm slightly worried that the slaves might be starting a very violent revolution soon, and that might that may not end well.
Oh. Well, so much for leaving things better than you found it, she says.
Yep.
Do you want to buy some bread? You know, for rations on the road, because we should skedaddle.
Yeah, I think as Tevinter is about to become a very, very ugly place. I mean, it wasn't that amazingly awesome to begin with, all things considered, but now I think it's really, really going to be ugly.
I think if we have anything to do in the city, and I think I might have a couple of things, we need to get them done now and leave as quickly as possible.
Agreed.
Yes, please.
Agreed. Sorry for the mess.
I mean, it was a mess when we got here. We just sort of knocked over the tableware, and then everything's sort of falling over.
Not helping, honey, not helping. She says, patting her back.
Yeah.
I think we've done a bit more than I think we've set this place on fire.
Oh no.
This did not end well.
Well, I guess let's get our shopping done, and we'll come back later.
We didn't do anything wrong, though. I mean, the three of us didn't do anything wrong.
Yet.
Oh, great. Okay.
Oh boy.
You guys are gonna go ahead and finish up your shopping. Feel free to go and spend like a silver or two on some freshly baked bread.
I was going to say, Pasha has two specific things that she wants to do. They don't need to be RP'd, I don't
Of course,
think.
what would you like?
Basically, she wants to find some place that sells high quality tea because she wants to send some back to her dearest friend Narika, because Narika doesn't go near Tevinter, so she's like, "Oh, my tea buddy, let's."
There's another cart or wagon, which is sort of like a food truck. A cart version of a barista coffee shop, but they also have teas, and it's called Tevinter on the side. Tevinter. And then what else are you trying to purchase?
The other thing isn't so much a purchase. She wants to send a letter because Pasha does have a friend in Tevinter.
Yes.
Who owned slaves. So she's just going to send him a quick letter to be like, "Hey, just so you know, the slaves may or may not be starting a rebellion. Get to safety. Lots of love, Pasha."
Remind me who that is? Do
I
know that?
Killian.
Oh.
Character.
Yes, Killian. Thank you. Yes.
She's just going to send a quick letter to Killian to be like, "Get to safety. Keep treating slaves nicely. If anything gets on fire, run away. There you go. Get on a boat."
Kunar, Parvolin's always looking for new converts.
You can crash with me for a little bit. It's fine. You might have to convert, but you know.
And then one more time before we get back to Tyrion, I want to briefly run back to Nathan and Rousseau. So, Rousseau, you're gonna find, you're gonna end up back in the chamber of the Archon, and things have definitely changed a little bit in this chamber. Archon Calpurnia is still there, but right now she's speaking to, you presume to be the captain of the guard and several of his men, and they're trying to speak to her about keeping order at the capital because things are starting to pick up quite a bit. She's going to wrap up the conversation with the captain of the guard, and he's going to leave just as, Rousseau and Nathan make their way up to her.
Madam Archon, lovely night, isn't it?
Mr. Alren, I see that you have returned back. I apologize, but I unfortunately can't really speak very long. I have my hands full, as you can probably imagine.
We'll be very quick, and I assume the gash is like still bleeding on his head.
I see that you might have run into some problems outside yourself.
Well, they gave me a very warm welcome at the front.
Feel free to go out the back instead on your way out.
No, we're here because I got something that'll help you quite a bit.
Oh, she says some good news would be welcome.
Okay, first thing, the dragon's been handled, won't be a problem. All the resources, yours. Considering how my compatriots exacerbated things, it's the least we could do. 2, our, informant came through, and here's the list.
She takes a look. And, she nods approvingly. And she says, "This indeed will be very helpful. Thank you, Mr. Alren." She will then very quickly take a parchment and she just writes a little bit of a note. And with that, she hands it to you and she says, go down the hall and take this to the treasury and they will take care of you.
It's fine. I think this for free is the least we could do.
That wasn't a request, Mr. Russo.
He'll get a half smile. Just be safe and, you might want to call some more people, hold them at least for right now.
Understood. If I were you, Mr. Russo, I would leave as quickly as you can before other members of your party makes things worse.
Yeah. Alright. Hopefully we meet again under better circumstances. Nathan, let's go.
He will give a polite bow to Archon Calpurnia, and he says, "Feel free to reach out to Ferelden if you need anything. My father may not respond as quickly, so feel free to send it to me first." And with that, he will leave with you out the back way. On your way out, if you do go to the treasurer, do you go to the treasurer?
Yes, because being insultful is not the right thing to do right now.
You'll go over to the treasurer, and he will hand you a pouch that contains 30 sovereign.
He'll, look in the pouch. Could I make a donation of this?
I'm sure you can. Is there a particular charity you'd wish to donate to? You can make up a charity if you'd like.
If there's, like, something for, like, freshly freed indentured servants or something, he'd put it towards that.
There actually is. We haven't been getting much donations as of late for that, so I'm sure they would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sure they deserve all of it.
So you're gonna give it all to them?
He'll keep 1 sovereign and then he'll give the 29 to that charity.
So with that, he will accept it. Rousseau, give yourself some karma points, some good karma points for giving up 30 sovereign to charity. Basically, I'm going to divide 30 by 10, that's 3. That gives you 3 karma points, which means you can spend them anytime from now until the end of the campaign. If you don't like what you rolled, you can re-roll it, but you have to accept the result of the roll.
And with that, I feel like we'll make our way out like the secret entrance or whatever.
Yeah,
outside the city.
You'll go out.
The Sally
yes.
Port or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we just come up out of like a sewer port where everyone's running in different directions.
Though you do notice he's been kind of relaxed, so Taryn can, I'm not sure if he notices, but at least Balm can notice that Daretham does kind of glance towards the direction of Tevinter and does look kind of tense. Seems like he's waiting.
Tyrion is not even like he's in like his own mind.
Ball might notice that, but
Bomb
otherwise.
will notice that, and he'll say, "Copper for your thoughts, Dartham."
Just worried. The atmosphere wasn't great when I left. Worried about the rest of our compatriots, and
He doesn't say it, but Balm can know it. He means Darren.
How much has changed, Dartham, in Tevinter since I was there?
And he kind of thinks,
so much and so little.
That is what I expected.
and Balm and the three would definitely notice Darren was a little tense and would kind of relax a little bit, though Balm and maybe a few others could notice he's still a little tense.
Hi, guys, Rosie says. And she actually doesn't make any eye contact with Tyrion. And it's less because of a disapproving reason, it's more of a embarrassed reason that she doesn't like.
Tyrion isn't even looking at the party. He's looking at I think he's
looking at his feet.
Yeah, it's like when you get like sort of that not that haze, like when you're unfocused, so you don't really have anything you're looking at. So he's maybe looking at the fire, his feet, the ground.
So Rosie doesn't even look in your direction.
No, yeah,
because she's like,
Hey.
awkward. It's very awkward. So like,
Hey, I've got some fresh baked bread. Should probably eat it before it gets too cold.
That'd be much appreciated. I'm starving.
it probably goes well with this spiced butter that I bought. I think it's nutmeg and cinnamon, and should be good with the bread.
Ooh.
He gives us.
Why is the Tranquil here? Why is Senior here? Why is he tied up? Like Pasha's just gonna go straight to Senior.
There's a pause as Dartham smiles, and we'll just, as Pasha goes up, put a hand on her shoulder and just say,
Tyrion, Senior.
Does Tyrion visually react to Pasha's immediate response to be where is the Tranquil?
He sort of shifts. He shifts himself a bit in where he's sitting. He's tensing up. He's my dad, and he almost cost me.
That's very nice, Tyrion. Why is he knocked out and here though?
He tried to alarm everyone. I knocked him out. Brought him with me. It's a complicated situation.
Pasha's going to attempt to rouse him.
He's not going to stop. He's not going to stop you. Terrence is going to. He just.
How is Pasha trying to rouse him?
Very gently. Just like gently, like patting him on the shoulder, maybe some like clicking by his ears, and she just goes, "Hello, Senior."